Right here is a Doug fir log that I harvested from the windfall last week, the one that you saw me load up in the back of my truck. And I told you that my toolbox was inside there. And it was, and it is, however, it's very green. And what I was going to do is I was going to cut and slab this into 1-inch pieces and let them dry. Wood typically dries, if it air dries, 1 inch a year. So a 1-inch board, you take half, cut that in half. It would take about 6 months out of the rain for this to dry. And I was fully planning on doing that. However, I came across this big block right here, you see, from an old barn that I bought some things. The gentleman actually threw this in my truck. He just gave it to me for some cribbings, for some equipment that I'd bought. And I got to looking at it, and I think it might be a really special piece of wood. It may be old growth, and I'm pretty sure that it's Douglas fir. It's big. It's about 8 inches across and almost maybe 17, 18 inches from top to bottom. It's got 2 knots over here, but nothing on the other side. But I thought, why don't we take the chainsaw mill and slab off of here? I can get 5 1-inch slabs off of here when I compensate for the kerf. And this may be a really special piece of wood. And it very well may be that my toolbox is inside this piece. This is really going to be exciting to cut into here and see what the grain looks like, see what it is. I think it's old. I think it's really old. It's been under cover and in barns for a long, long time. It should be very, very stable and very dry. One concern I have is it has a lot of metal in it. There's a lot of nails. I noticed over here there's some different nails. It looks like it's got maybe some tar on it. I wonder, I'd bet that this was a piece of bridge decking that was cut off an old logging bridge, probably over 100 years ago, and that's why it's got that tar on it. So I've got a clever solution to find all of the metal in here so we don't destroy our planes, chisels, or chainsaw blade. A hobby that Jack has that he really enjoys is we got him a little metal detector. And he goes around the yard and finds nails and artifacts and all different types of things. It's a really fun hobby for kids. If you find one, it's a great gift. Hours and hours of entertainment. It's fun to see what they come up with. And it gets a lot of nails out of the yard. I'll put the one that we really enjoy in my Amazon store, Wranglerstar.com. You can link over there in the subject heading and get one of these. A great gift for boys or girls. It's really fun. But that's what I'm going to use today for finding the nails, a little metal detector. These are the 4 pieces of steel that I found in that block. So having metal in trees is really dangerous and really messes up equipment. You gotta be careful if you're cutting trees and harvesting lumber that have been around households, because it's real common for people to have pounded nails, kids pound nails building tree forts or hanging clotheslines or birdhouses. There's almost always metal in them. You gotta be real careful with that. Eco-terrorists and protesters who have been against the logging industry have spiked trees for years, would drive deep metal or long metal spikes into the base of trees that would stop the chainsaws, or even worse, would come in contact with a spinning blade at a sawmill and have injured and even killed workers at sawmills. It's very dangerous, especially with how fast those blades are turning. They have I have a friend that's got a sawmill that one of the few sawmills in the country that mills really big stuff. He has that ability. He actually milled some of the decking boards for the restoration of the USS Constitution. He had the only equipment in the country that could do that type of work. And they have to use metal detectors and wands on everything that they mill. because it's just so dangerous. As a side note, these eco-terrorists have started using ceramic. So they're spiking trees and they're putting ceramic rods in there, which when that comes in contact with the blade, it just explodes and is really, really dangerous for the workers at the mill. So that's a very insidious, underhanded thing to do. So just know that if you're milling trees around structures and some of this older stuff. I really have no idea what we're going to find under here. You guys are going to find out the same time I do. There's a lot of grease and tar on here. I'll scrape this off, knock most of this stuff off, get it as flat as we can, and then we'll use this for a guide for the chainsaw mill. But we'll just take like a 1/4 inch, maybe 1/2 inch off the top of this. This tar and this oil undoubtedly has seeped into the grain. How far? Who can say? But we might have something really special here. We might not. It might not be anything, but that's kind of the fun of it. They're just never two pieces of wood alike. They're all of them unique and individual. So I've got all the tar and grease cleaned off. You can start to see some of that grain come out. It looks very red and rich. Most likely is a red fir. Might be really pretty. So I'm going to dog, I've got some little oak dogs. We'll dog this here to the log, this block to the log to prevent it from slipping. And we'll make our first slab with a chainsaw mill. I made these little dogs here just from an old hardwood pallet. If you look around, sometimes you can find some pallets that are being discarded that are made of oak, pallets that are designed for hard stuff, and there's a fair amount of oak in them. So they're really good to find. Keep your eyes open for them. So this way I can push against these dogs and have a secure backing there or blocking there. I keep this from sliding when I'm cutting with the mill. So we're ready to make our first slab. I've got the chainsaw mill set as shallow as I can go. And so we'll make a first cut off of here and take a little peek inside of what we got.